So today we're gonna be reading two little paragraphs for y'all. So yeah, about Thanksgiving and how it was, and there's history behind it. And I'm gonna show y'all that. But let's read it. Thanksgiving became a holiday at a time when the nation was more divided than it's ever been, literally at war itself with itself. Bro, not my fault, bro. Just mute me real quick. Said for the National Women's History for a National Women's Seaman in Alexandria, Virginia. It was a time when America was split not into blue and red, but blue and gray. The Civil War had created a bitter partisan climate, not unlike today's Thanksgiving. Was a one-day timeout for them, and maybe still for us. At a time when our nation is so political, polarized, the invitation remains the same: to come together in the American family. The first national Thanksgiving was to heal the wounds of the nation, or according to Abraham Lincoln, but leave it to Sarah Josepha Howe, the woman who lobbied for 36 years to put Thanksgiving on the calendar to really spell it out. Instrument and clues due to distance and political alliances had become a problem in America. Shortly before the war began, in one of her innumerable editorials pushing for the holiday. The situation more family get-togethers if we all sit down and break bread together. She reasoned regional and political hostiles would just melt away. Thanksgiving is now the busiest travel day. But that concept was to bank into it from the beginning. Relatives, a helping plate of dressed turkey, or she hoped, how come we can hate our Mississippi brother-in-law? She wrote in 1959, who is a better fellow than our wife's uncles from St. Louis? Thanksgiving was supposed to be an olive branch, and the story of the holiday is largely the story of how. Her effort speaks volume about the power of women. Tangerine said even in an age to shape national policy. I think she's very positive, and that's very much how women what little power they had, she said. Some people have referred to this as parlor politics, which a few into have used. I was the editor of the Good Ladies book, the popular magazine of any type in the years leading up to the Civil War, with a monthly circulation of 150,000 by 1,860, and that gave her a platform. They called her the most affluent woman in America at one point, said Jeff Walton of New Hampshire Historic History in Concert. Hailed from Newport, New Hampshire, the owner of Godey's book. The owner of Godey's Ladies Books gave her a lot of international control. Walton said she was a tastemaker. Godey was the Martin Stewart living, or its day. It set trend for white for the weddings for weddings Christmas trees at Christmas. Most Americans saw the first Christmas tree in an 815 engraving in Godey's, but the magazine was more than that. Hale, who came on board as an editor in 1837, was a writer and poet, famous for, among other things, Mary Had a Little Lamb. She made sure that her magazine was more than just food and fashion. It published fiction, Nathaniel Holman, Washington Irving, and Edgar Allan Poe. The text of Unsumino first appeared in the pages it advocated for women's property rights, employment rights, and education, though it stopped short of endorsing suffrage. She was very much product of her time, Sarah said of Vale. She conservative and religious and devout, but at the same time she wants things better for women. She believes in the division of the sexes, that there are roles for women and roles for men. The sphere of the woman was domestic and moral. It was elevate home life, and through her docile sweetness exert a moderating influence on Recomania's children and mulish husbands. And what greater challenge was there for a woman than to nail down a silverware of turkey stuffing and canned dye would do the trick? Why not? Everything that makes us feel, from the icy north to the sunny south, that we are one family is worthy of being cherished. Hale wrote in 1860, "We believe our Thanksgiving Day, if fixed and properly whatever, will be a great and sacrificing promoter of this national spirit." Thanksgiving has been Hale's customary since 1827, when Thanksgiving had been when she since 1827, when she published her book Northwood Sketches of Her Native New, published Northwood Northwood Sketches of Her Native New England, that included the local custom of a harvest celebration. This book has the first detailed description of this book has the what Thanksgiving would look like. She's savory stuffing. She talks about gravy and vegetables and pumpkin pie. Thanksgiving supposedly celebrates at 1612 Fall Fest, the mark the first year pilgrims at Plymouth. The guests were local Wampanoag. The food was full, and 5 deer brought by the Native Americans, according to Edward Winslow, the colonist whose later is the single source for the story. Hale apparently didn't know any of this. Thanksgiving for her was a New English tradition she thought should go national. The Thanksgiving menu, the customs, the day itself were all laid out by her. The dinner we now take for granted, the turkey, the side bros. Groaning with food is really a New England thing. Walton says she was writing about what she knew growing up in a small town. Starting in 1837, when Howe took over Gotti's house at the invitation of publisher Louis A. Gotti, she began to razzle about Thanksgiving once a year, minimum, sometimes more. In 1851, urged to the last Thursday. In November as an idea of Thanksgiving Day. In 1854, she sounded the epic note from Monterey, Mexico, from Plymouth Rock to Sunset Sea. The hymn of Thanksgiving should be surprisingly raised as the pledge of brotherhood she brought. Hale began writing to governors, pestering them to proclaim Thanksgiving a state holiday in New Hampshire, her native state. Was the first to claim comply. It was the first to come in. She wrote Hale began writing to governors, pressuring them to proclaim Thanksgiving a state holiday. New Hampshire, her native state, was the first to comply. In 1847, other states and territories followed. Need to celebrate Thanksgiving, they need to celebrate it at the same time as a symbol of national unity. On September 8th, she went to the top. Sir, permit me, as an editress of the Lady's Book, to request a few minutes of your precious time. In her letter to Lincoln, she insisted on a minute proclamation to make the day of our annual Thanksgiving. Made Lincoln at that time had battles enough on his hands. He surrounded to Hale at once. I do therefore invite my fellow citizens in every sea and those who are sojourning in foreign lands, set apart and observe the last Thursday of November as a day of Thanksgiving, he said in one proclamation on October 3, 1863. Hale thought doubtless wasn't any was any chances. She summarily wrote to rest just in case. In fact, it took another 78 years and a national calendar with proclamation high and really more of an official discussion. It was until 1941, through an act of Congress, Thanksgiving became a bona fide national holiday, a built tribute to Hale, who kept hurrying Congress to pass Thanksgiving to law in time of her death in 1879. Her invitation was to set political difference aside and give thanks for the blessings you've given. Imagine that was her rallying. Can't we all do that? I'll show you all the shows you guys should watch. Okay, second helping. Check out the top 10 Thanksgiving episodes of all time. Friends, the one with the rumor. Friends was a show that loved Thanksgiving, making 10 episodes centered around the holiday. And let's just name them. And then Friends, the one with all Thanksgiving, Modern Family through turkeys. The Simpsons, Bart versus Thanksgiving. Then The Sopranos, He Has Risen, See Television. Fresh Off the Boat, Bobby Burgers, Fresh Off the Boat, Thanksgiving, Bobby Burgers turkey in a can. Bob Burgers game making bobsled. Rip in Cincinnati. Turkeys away. I saw the best episodes. I'm not gonna read all that though. You didn't watch them? Actually, I will. Okay, this is Three Turkeys. The title tells you what happens, but the journey is the reward. As they say, getting to why they end up with three turkeys. It's what fun, and it involves a usual and deserved misunderstandings. As funny as Homer Simpson says, because it's true. Well, a take in a suitcase may be a bit much, but the sentiment feels generally speaking of Honor Simpson. Bart Simpson, Bart for Simpson. There are several times in the history of the show where you think that it's Bart's finally gone too far. This was one of the earlier ones. He argues with Lisa. Her handmade copper caterpiece winds up in flames, and he runs away from home. After selling his blood and being interviewed at a homeless shelter, he learns the value of a family, and his family learns his value. Well, he's going to turns out kind of sweet, actually. The Sopranos series, you can argue that a few of picks are on here are strictly Thanksgiving episodes, but Thanksgiving is a key theme. Here, Raph shuns Tony by not having a drink with him. There's more history, but that's another episode. Then he tells Carmela to uninvite Ruff to Thanksgiving dinner. Important of much worse things to come between the two, but there is a dinner, and it is who Janice invites her born again songwriting partner, who is Nebraska, fall asleep while they're eating, says, "Have you heard the good news? He is risen." Whenever a guest arrives. I don't think I said. I don't know if I did. Suggestion. I went to market. Why it is about hobo dramas and dysfunctional Thanksgiving dinners. There's a lot of going on in this episode. They usually backbiting and scheming, but again, dinner is the center price, and it is a cringe-worthy feast. It's especially nice when these around richer than rich monsters go around the table to talk about what they're thankful for, and by nice I mean awful, but in the best way. Fresh off the boat. Have you ever feel in Honga's game? Have you have you ever feel family pressure when hosting Thanksgiving dinner? Maybe, but probably not. Like Jessica feels it in this episode. Her mother makes her customary 5:30 call to announce who will host dinner. Jessica, or her sister Connie. Jessica wins the honors, and things start falling apart. Best part, maybe Jessica and Lewis decide to serve individual. Or Lewis decide to serve individual Cornish campaigns. Best part, maybe Jessica and Lewis decide to serve individual Cornish game hens, which when they arrive are still alive and have names. Things get a little more serious, but it's a good episode. If you ever want to outdo an older sibling, which if you've got one, you have. Bob Burgers, turkey in a can. Perhaps no show with the expectation friends love Thanksgiving like Bob's. Because you could pick any of them. I can't believe I'm leaving out an incident, leaving out beloved an accident. Thanksgiving proposal in which landlord Mrs. Furniture rubs the bleachers into posing as his family except from a person drinking Bob. In this one, Bob finally scores the turkey of his dreams, only to have it wind up in the toilet, as does he the replacement turkey, and so on. And no one can fight. No one can sooner. I don't know. No one can figure out why so great. Yeah, figure not. I don't know. Baba's maker, Gal making bobsled. A snowstorm Bob to ferry Linda's sister Gal to their house on a sled. A trip complicated not just by the blizzard but by Mr. Business Gale's annoying cat. Meanwhile, Bob tries to coach Linda on cooking the turkey over the phone. Talk to him, make it feel good, he urges. That goes about as well as you think. So many of these episodes. Bro, just unmute me and then I'll tell you to unmute me. Just mute me. That goes about as well as if you. Well, still, just I want you to respond back and say okay. So many of these episodes fight economy and disaster, no doubt. That's why we love them. Work then Cincinnati turkeys away. This is the greatest Thanksgiving episode of all time, which is saying something considering its first aired in 1978. It has one of the great lines of skitcom history. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly, and a disaster from the ages, which is of course related to the Great Line. The station manager, Mr. Clarkson, decided to drop turkeys onto a shopping mall parking lot. Live turkeys see the Great Line above, or news reporter Man live report the turkeys are hitting the ground like stacks of wet cement. It's awful. It's hilarious. It's just the best. Tomorrow we should do the Christmas tree. What you think? No. I put up the Christmas tree one? Too late. What are you gonna do with him? Okay, when does he start? I think in Christmas, but I don't know if he moves on. I don't know. Well, when's his first day? And then where does he go? What, does he do the same thing that Elf in the Show does? No, but you can touch him, but I don't know. Like, he does silly things too. But he's trying to find his manager until Christmas. He's trying to find what? His shepherd major. His shepherd manger. Did he ever find it or no? No, it's on the way to Christmas. It's not the book I'm talking about. It says